Walk down any nice street and pay attention to which houses actually make you stop and look. It's almost never the biggest one. It's not the most expensive one either. It's usually some perfectly normal 3-bedroom that just looks, right, crisp, considered, like someone actually thought about it. And here's the thing that gets me every time. The difference between that house and the one next door is almost never about money. It's 8, maybe 10 small decisions, and most of them cost less than dinner out for 2. I've been making a mental list every time I drive through a nice neighborhood, and at some point I realized I needed to just say all of this out loud because nobody is telling homeowners these moves. So here we go. The first thing my eye lands on with any house is the front door, specifically the hardware around it. And honestly, this one drives me a little crazy because it's so easy to fix and so few people do it. Most builder-grade homes come with the cheapest possible door handle, a tiny, shiny brass lever that looks a little plasticky from 10 feet away. You know the one. Every spec house in America has it. Swap it for something with weight. Matte black, oil-rubbed bronze, brushed nickel, whatever fits the house. The point is it has to feel substantial in the hand. You can find genuinely beautiful sets for under $100, and if you stretch to $150, you're into matched knockers, deadbolts, and kick plates. 1 hour, 1 screwdriver. The door goes from tracked home to actually thought about. It's the cheapest version of looking expensive I know. And while you're already at the door, paint it. And I don't mean a fresh coat of the same beige. I mean an actual saturated color. Black is the safest move, and Zillow has tracked black front doors as one of the few specific paint choices that adds measurable resale value. But navy, forest green, oxblood, deep burgundy, they all do the same thing. The reason it works is contrast. A pale facade with one saturated door pulls your eye and gives the architecture a focal point. It reads designed instead of defaulted. A gallon of good exterior paint is $40. The transformation is genuinely wild. Now look up, because nobody looks up. Most porch lights are tiny, like comically tiny. There's some unwritten builder rule that exterior fixtures have to be sized for a dollhouse, and the result is sconces that look like jewelry on a face when they should look like punctuation on a sentence. Bigger is almost always the move. Go up 1 size from whatever your house has now, and ideally 2. A pair of matte black sconces flanking the door, even budget ones at $60 each, will change the entire entry. I'm not exaggerating. And while you're up there, the bulb matters as much as the fixture. Warm white, around 2,700 to 3,000 Kelvin. Anything cooler reads as institutional. It's why your neighbor's blue-tinted porch light makes their otherwise lovely home look like an urgent care from the street. That's not even me being dramatic. It's just what color temperature does to architecture at night. This next one, almost nobody mentions, and it might be the highest impact dollar for dollar on this entire list. Oversized house numbers. I don't mean the little 4-inch peel and stick numbers next to your door that came with the house. I mean 6-inch or 8-inch numbers in a clean, modern font, mounted somewhere obvious. The door frame, a vertical board, a porch column. There's actually a basic design rule that your house numbers should be readable from the street at a glance. They're functional and they quietly signal that someone gives a damn. A nice set is $20 to $40 on Amazon. I will die on the hill that this is the single best cost to impact upgrade in the entire conversation. Just trust me on this one. Speaking of small metal things that say a lot, your mailbox. Plastic mailboxes leaning on plastic posts are one of those things you stop seeing because you walk past yours 1,000 times. But every other person who pulls up to your house clocks it instantly. A cedar post for $50 and a modern matte black mailbox for $40 completely re-anchors the curb. It's a Saturday afternoon project. If your community has cluster mailboxes, skip ahead. If you have an individual one, this is one of the easiest, expensive-looking wins on the entire list. Easy. Okay, let me step away from the front door for a second because there's something happening on the ground that matters more than people realize, and I think this is the one that surprises people the most. Edges. Just edges. The line between your lawn and your beds. The reason most front yards look fuzzy and untended isn't because the grass is brown or the plants are dying. It's because there's no crisp line anywhere. The grass blurs into the mulch, which blurs into the driveway, and the eye can't find anywhere to rest. A clean-cut edge, I mean a sharp 90-degree spade cut, 2 or 3 inches deep, between your lawn and every planting bed, instantly makes the whole yard look professionally maintained. It costs $0. An hour of work and a halfway sharp spade. And I'm telling you, the visual difference is the same as a haircut on someone who hadn't had one in months. Everything suddenly looks intentional. While you're already out there, refresh the mulch. Just a thin layer of natural shredded hardwood. Please, not the dyed red stuff. That's a whole other conversation I've already had on this channel. A few yards of mulch delivered is 60, 80 bucks. It's the closest thing landscaping has to a magic eraser. There's a related move I see landscape designers do constantly and homeowners almost never do, which is pruning. Not removing the foundation shrubs, just pruning them back so they actually frame the house instead of swallowing it. When you walk up to a house, your eyes need to land on the architecture, the door, the windows, the porch, not on a row of overgrown evergreens that have eaten the windowsills. If your shrubs are blocking any part of your windows, they're too big. If they're touching the siding, they're too big. Pruning shears, and an afternoon is usually all it takes. The house ends up looking like it grew 2 feet. And honestly, this is where I'm going to quote someone directly because the line nails it. Shayna Barnum, who runs Shayna B Design in Pennsylvania, said in a Homes and Gardens piece that foundation plantings are meant to frame a home, not swallow it. That sentence has lived in my head ever since I read it. It basically summarizes the entire front yard philosophy in one breath. The yard supports the story. The house is the protagonist. Everything else is supporting cast. Now here's the move I'd call the secret weapon, and I'm a little obsessed with it. Symmetrical planters at the front door. I genuinely don't fully know why this works as well as it does, but the human brain reads symmetry as money. A matched pair of planters flanking the door turns a basic porch into a designed one. The catch is, they have to actually be big. 20 inches tall is a reasonable minimum. Anything smaller starts to look like an afterthought, and I've watched people get this wrong over and over. Buy the bigger pair every time. Fill them with something architectural. Boxwood balls, dwarf evergreens, ornamental grasses. I personally like a permanent year-round green base with one smaller seasonal accent rotated in front of it because the porch never looks neglected and you only swap one little thing 4 times a year. A good pair of planters is $60 to $120 each, and the plant material inside is cheap. I'm telling you, you will look at your house differently the day you finish this one. It's almost embarrassing how much of a difference it makes. A weirdly underrated upgrade that nobody talks about is just power washing. Renting a power washer for a weekend and going at the driveway, the walkway, the front steps, the garage door, the siding around the entry. You don't realize how much of the dingy quality of a house is just years of accumulated dust, mildew, and pollen until it's gone. A rental is 40 bucks for a day, and the difference is the kind of thing your neighbors comment on without being able to put their finger on why. They just know the house looks newer. If your driveway is concrete and it's stained or cracked in patches, you don't have to re-pour anything. A simple line of low ground cover or a paver border along the edge softens the visual weight of the concrete and reads as a much more considered hardscape choice. Same logic with the front walk. If yours is dingy gray concrete that just shoots straight to the door from the driveway, adding flagstone steppers offset to one side or even just a low planted border along the edge completely changes how the walk reads. Pathways should feel like a journey, not a chute. That phrase is from a landscape design book I read years ago, and I think about it every time I see a builder-grade front walk. I want to come back to the porch for one last thing because it costs under 50 bucks and almost everyone gets it wrong. The doormat. Builder-grade rubber mats are doing your house absolutely no favors. Same for the little welcome mats with cursive text on them. Go big. I'm talking 24 by 48 inches of natural fiber coir at minimum, and if your porch is deep enough, bigger than that. A properly sized mat scales the entire porch correctly. The door looks more substantial. The whole entry gets a finished, considered feeling that a tiny mat will never give you. This is gonna sound silly, but it's the same logic as a rug under a sofa. A too small rug under a sectional makes a room feel like a college dorm. A properly sized rug makes the same exact furniture look pensive. Doormats do that for porches. Same brain, same rule. There's one more I want to mention because it's free, which is the best price there is. Take a garden hose, lay it on the ground, and rework the curve of your beds from the curb. A lot of front yards have these tight little zigzag bed lines because someone, probably a previous owner, was trying to fit around a tree or work around the corner of the driveway. The result is busy, visually exhausting. A single, long, gentle curve along the edge of a planting bed, what landscape designers call a flowing line, instantly reads as more expensive than a bunch of tight angles. Lay the hose where you think the new edge should be, walk to the curb, look back, adjust. Keep going until it looks right from the street. That's where you recut the edge. If your house is more modern or transitional, same exercise but with straight lines. Long, deliberate, parallel to the architecture. Either approach, flowing curves on traditional homes, clean straight lines on modern ones, kills the random zigzag that makes most front yards read as accidental. I'd also gently push back on a temptation that's everywhere right now, which is adding more stuff to the yard. More garden flags, more decorative signs, more themed seasonal decor stacked everywhere. I'm not coming for anyone's gnome. Live your life. I've said this before. But the more decorative pieces you scatter across a front yard, the harder it becomes for any single element to actually read as designed. Less, edited carefully, will almost always look more expensive than more piled on. That's a hill I'm willing to die on too, apparently. The thing I want you to take from all this is that none of it is landscape architecture. None of it requires a contractor or a permit or a savings account raid. The most expensive thing on the entire list is probably a matched pair of decent planters. And even that is under a couple $100 for the set. What separates a house that looks expensive from one that looks dated isn't the bones of the structure. It's 8 or 10 small, deliberate moves that quietly add up to a feeling that someone clearly cares about this place. And that feeling, that quiet sense of intention, that's what reads as money, even when it isn't. If you do just one of these this weekend, drop a comment and tell me which one you started with. The door hardware swap is probably my favorite first move because it's so disproportionately impactful and the whole project fits inside a Saturday morning. But honestly, any of these will move the needle. Hit subscribe. If any of this was useful, it genuinely helps the channel more than people realize. I'll see you next time.